going TV shopping at Costco. Up next.
I've seen things people wouldn't believe.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Brian. This is Tech Therapy. Thank you so much for joining me as we go into Costco to choose your next TV. Now, Costco is one of my favorite brick and mortar retailers to go into and buy a TV at that moment and take it home that day. In the worst case scenario, if you have to bring it back, bring it back. That's what separates Costco from many other retailers. Now, there are more options on Costco's website, but we're going to focus on what's in the physical location today. Now, Costco can be very overwhelming when you walk into the store. There is everything you can imagine in any of the locations that you will go to, and the TV department is typically right there in front. Depending on the location you go to, it can be rather large or small, but one thing they do have in common are aisles and aisles of TVs, except they're basically all the same TVs at different sizes. You'll see that today. Also, this time of year, it's very dicey to walk into any brick and mortar because half the TVs there are from last year. I'll help you figure that out as well today. Without further ado, let's walk into Costco to buy your next TV. Thank you so much for watching. All right, guys, let's do it. We're at my local Costco. Each and every Costco is different. You will need a membership to shop here. I recommend getting the executive membership as there are benefits that go with that. We're going to break down my favorite TV recommendations for you guys, and we'll break them down by manufacturer, starting with TCL. Now, TCL is, in my opinion, having the best TV year of any manufacturer, and it all started with the QM6K. The QM6K is part of their higher end series, which is a switch for TCL in Costco. And I've always criticized TCL for that, and they are very nimble. Now having the higher end QM6K here is amazing and one of the most popular TVs from them this year. Now, it's also a Costco variant. It's called the QM6K Pro. Now, the 98-inch version you're seeing here is only $2,000, but if you buy this anywhere else, it will be a matte screen. Instead, what you're seeing here is the higher-end screen of the QM7K. So you get the best QM6K out there only at Costco. And to have a 98-inch TV at this price point is insane. Also, very high specs, 144 hertz gaming, mini LED, absolutely gorgeous TV. While it is value-based, it is very high-end in terms of its image quality. But to have a TV this size at this price point and have it be the best version of itself is absurd. Not everybody wants that matte screen. To have a glossy version of the QM6K is amazing. Now, the smaller variants of the QM6K are glossy, but the larger ones are matte. And keep in mind, you have an Onkyo sound system here as well from the QM6K. Now, moving over to what was their larger TV last year was the Q7. This is the most recommended TCL for me in the store. At this price point, to have 144 hertz 4K TV is ridiculous. Every other option at this price point is going to be 60 hertz. Much like this very popular model from Hisense, the QD6. Now, Hisense has a much larger presence in other Costco's around the country. Let me know if you see more Hisense models in your local Costco. Speaking with them, they have told me they have other kiosks and much larger TVs in various locations around the country. Moving into another aisle to see a different size, these 43-inch TVs and a lot of these 60 hertz TVs, they're literally interchangeable at this price point. It's nice to see the TV on, but at these sizes at 40 inches and 60 hertz, literally choose whatever manufacturer you like best. We're going to focus on the best image quality and best prices after we look at this Hisense. But again, let me know if in your local Hisense you have more options to choose from. They have excellent TVs in other locations. I also believe that this Hisense is last year's model. Moving into Sony, which is also their last year's Bravia 8, my favorite Sony OLED in Costco. It's a WOLED. You see it here at 77 inches. It's also available in the store at 65 inches. Excellent TV. It has one of the best processors in the business in the XR cognitive processor. I personally have this TV at 65 inches. The challenge for the Bravia 8 is it's very expensive compared to other OLEDs of the same size within this store, which is a shame because the Bravia 8 is amazing, and again, arguably has the best processor, definitely has the best processor of any other OLED in this store. Keep an eye on the Bravia 8 as the prices go down. Now we're in the largest sizes of a lot of the TVs in this angle of the store. Some Sony sound bars behind me. And my Costco is a little haphazard. All of a sudden, in the corner of another part, you'll see a Bravia 8 at 65 inches. So a little haphazard in how this particular Costco is set up. It's usually much more tidy than this. Now let's look at the Sony X90L. Full array local dimming LED. The X90L has been out for a few years now. It's being replaced by the Bravia 5. Also an amazing choice if you want a Sony. Simply because even though it is an entry level, it is full array local dimming, and it also has that same XR cognitive processor that the Bravia 8 has. Well, you'll see with a lot of the value-based TVs at Costco, the processing will be of its lowest level. Not so with the Sony XR cognitive processor on the X90L and the Bravia 8. Let's move on to the more value-based Sony Bravia 3 here at 85 inches. The Bravia 3 will be limited to 60 Hz, and it does have their step-down processor. However, Sony's processing, even at a step-down level, is still better than many other manufacturers. Excellent price for an 85-inch TV. Now, I was very disappointed to not see any 2025 Sony TVs in this particular Costco. Let me know if there's any in your local Costco. Now, it's great to see Sony back in Costco after the last number of years. Seeing them here in full force is amazing. That's the thing about a lot of these wholesale clubs. Costco is really the only one that has higher-end brands bring their mid to high-end options. And Sony jumping back into these stores was a very welcome addition for those of you that want more choices when you have a membership at something like a Costco. Sony is amazing again, best processing in the business. And the Bravia 3 again is a value TV for them. You have many of their sizes here available, 65, 75, and 85 inches. Let's move on to my favorite mini LED from Sony at Costco. It's the Sony Bravia 7. I personally have this TV at home at 75 inches. I love this little Bravia 7 demo box. Great to see this in store, but it also highlights the issue with Costco's as it's sitting here next to a 75-inch X90L. Now, there's only one of these TVs left. It's not even in the box, and it's sitting above a Samsung box. So that's where it gets very confusing shopping in some of these locations. This last physical TV is the last Bravia 7 in this store, and they will not be replenishing them. That's what's hard to recommend about Costco. I could tell you, hey, they have this TV, you go there, it's nowhere to be found, or it's sold out and they won't be replenishing them. So that's something to keep in mind when you're shopping at Costco. But the Bravia 7, if it's there in your local location, definitely give it a look. The Bravia 7 is awesome. Quantum dot mini LED, several sizes available, excellent HDR impact, and you also again get the XR cognitive processor. What was also interesting in this Costco, as I show you this end cap, is the Sony Bravia kiosk is gone. We had two Bravia 8s on this kiosk. I hate seeing the kiosk go away, but it was right there and now it's gone. I'll have to ask my Sony contacts how that actually works. I know the store itself chooses. You still have the LG kiosk here and the Samsung one on the end, but I love seeing the Sony one here in the front. I don't know why it's gone, but I have to ask Sony. Let's move over to LG with the LG B4 at 83 inches. This TV has my heart. as it is such a gorgeous model, and having an 83-inch size OLED for $2,000 is absurd. 120 hertz, excellent gaming TV. It's right there next to the 77-inch Bravia 8, which is also a higher-end W OLED. They're not the same tier structure in each manufacturer. The B4 is a lower-end W OLED, not as bright as the Bravia 8, but it's a beautiful TV. And the price difference between the 83-inch B4 and the 77-inch Bravia 8, that's what makes the Bravia 8 tough to recommend at this time. But the B4, while not quite as bright, still has a beautiful image. And we had the B series last year up against the best other LG TVs, which were brighter, and it was still beautiful. A lot of people liked the more rich look of the B series. It's not trying to be overly bright, it just looks fantastic. 83-inch LG B4, highly recommended. Love the TV. Let's move over to the new LG C5. One of the only new TVs in the store is the LG C5. Now you're going to see 120 hertz on the label. It's actually 144 hertz. It's just not delineated to say on the panel, or I should say on the tag, 144 hertz for gaming. But I did double check with LG to make sure that this wasn't a Costco variant that only had 120 hertz. It is 144 hertz. C5 is excellent. The C series is great each and every year. And my favorite part about the C series is that they're incrementally better each year. The C5 is very bright this year compared to last year's C4, but the C4 also an excellent model. LG is very consistent with their C series. Again, each year incrementally better. While the C5 is a good deal brighter than the C4 was also very bright for a W OLED. And the pricing, again, if you compare it to the Bravia 8 on the other side, very affordable. And if you want a C series of a larger size, the C4 is an excellent choice. Very light, very thin. Beautiful TV, again, excellent for gaming. C4 also has 144 hertz, regardless of what the tag says. That 120 is not accurate. It should say 120 hertz, but 144 hertz for gaming. And I love that LG was the first high-end manufacturer to be in a Costco. Now, I don't recommend these LG LEDs unless you see one that says QNED. Only because the quality drops off a lot from the QNED lineup. Moving over to Samsung, and the best absolute bargain in the store is the S90D Quantum Dot OLED. Now, disappointed that the S90F is not here, but again, 77-inch Quantum Dot OLED, $19.99, $14.99 for the 65-inch. Which is why in Costco, make sure you walk down the aisle to check prices. At 77 inches, you're looking at the Bravia 8 at $26.99. Then the 83-inch B4 at $19.99. That's the best part about walking around the store. Just go right around the corner and keep an eye on the differences in price. But Quantum Dot OLEDs have better color, they're more vibrant, and they are brighter. That pink tone you're seeing is really only on camera. This is just how the camera sensor picks up Quantum Dot OLEDs. But they are gorgeous, and I definitely recommend the S90. I wish the S90F was here. Now, even though the tag on the S90D says 120, you also do still have 144 hertz gaming ability on the S90. Now, Samsung's always had a strong presence in Costco and other wholesale clubs, but to see Quantum Dot OLEDs here from the S90C and now S90D is amazing. Let's hope the S90F also arrives here. Now, my favorite mini LED and the only mini LED from Samsung is the Neo QLED QN85D, also last year's model. I reviewed this TV in my studio. Love the TV, very dusty right there. But one of my favorite Samsungs. And now the QN85 variant is now gone. There's only an 80 and a 90. So this is going to be a collector's edition, the last of its kind. QN85 is that model from Samsung, which is next to their other high-end Neo QLED mini LEDs. And you're like, wow, I think I like the 85 better. It just has that kind of image quality. Excellent processing from Samsung. And you see very few mini LEDs in this store. There's a 65 and a 75 right there. But what's confusing in most of these TVs are direct lit 60 Hertz, much like their very popular Crystal series, which we'll show you now. Now, these have always been the go-to value or entry level Samsungs in any wholesale club. They're actually quite good. Any of the Crystal series Samsungs are recommended. They are very cheap. And for the last number of years, they've only had smaller sizes, where back in the day, maybe 3-4 years ago, they had 85-inch versions, which you'll see in a moment. But this Crystal series, they also do have a 100-inch version of the Crystal series now. Not here, but these used to dominate wholesale clubs. Now, these are 60 Hertz TVs. The image quality is not going to be anywhere near as what you see on the QN85, but if you want an entry-level Samsung, this is where to start. But you are looking at 60 Hertz panels, looking at the prices, and when you spin around and look behind me, then you're going to see that TCL at 144 Hertz, whoop, right there, and much better specs. But keep that in mind. It's the best part about these stores is run back and forth, check out the prices, and see what you think. But you have a weird size there, 70 inches. That's a pretty random size, something that Samsung is known for, having 50-inch TVs and 70-inch TVs. But keep an eye on the tags of these TVs, going back and forth. Really look at the specs and see what lines up and what doesn't. That TCL looks damn good. Now moving over to the front of the store, and there there's one smaller 55-inch Samsung Crystal series. Now I wonder if Samsung actually watches these videos, because I said, you know what, you're really missing your 85-inch Crystal series, and boom, there it is, right in the front of the store. They used to always have these larger Crystal series in front of their Costco's, and all of a sudden, the TCL was gone and the Samsungs were here. $1,000 for an 85-inch Samsung. Again, the Crystal series does look quite good, especially at the larger sizes. Now, I know this can be confusing. It seems like I'm going through a lot of different models. I'm actually not. I'm only showing you a couple different TVs, and I'll wrap up showing you my favorite at the very end. But when you go into a Costco, really don't chase the name. That's what this video is for. You can just grab a Samsung and not know what you're getting. Like right here, this Q7 FD. Don't recommend these, as they're not the lower end Crystal series in terms of price, but they're also not Neo QLED mini LEDs either. And they're TVs that I've never really spent a lot of time with. So it gets confusing in that 7 category. I'd much rather see you go with the QN85 or go with a larger Crystal series. Now, as I mentioned, walking through the store can be very overwhelming as I'm sitting here with my empty cart, but there really is not that many options, which is kind of a flaw, but there's really just different sizes in different aisles. So don't get overwhelmed. Follow this video, and let's go over again at the very end of the video my most recommended TVs in Costco. And not any particular order, let's go with the LG B4 at 83 inches, the LG C5 at any sizes that you see, the LG C4 at 65 inches and 77 inches. And the star of the video, the TCL QM6K Pro, for having its own Costco variant. Then we'll also do the TCL Q7 for being 144 Hertz 4K display. The Samsung QN85D Neo QLED Mini LED, the Samsung S90D Quantum Dot OLED at both 65 and 77 inches. The Sony Bravia 7, if you can find it, as well as the Sony X90L, which is right beside it. And then keep an eye as the prices drop on the excellent Sony Bravia 8. Again, one of my favorite TVs. And those are my most recommended TVs by manufacturer in my local Costco. Let me know what is in your local Costco. Again, Costco has the best return policy in the business. I want to show you the physical location other than the website so you can go in and get those TVs right now. Check out the website for other options. I'm Brian. This is Tech Therapy. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing. Take care. Love you guys.
It's better to burn out than to fade away. There can be only one.